Hello, this is Mark, and welcome to Tea With. This is Mark, and welcome to our Tea With. And tonight, I'm having tea with Tom Wurm. I've known Tom Wurm for a year now, right, Tom?
Something like that around, yeah.
And I actually haven't got to know Tom pretty well, and I really admire Tom. And we had a really awesome launch 2 weeks ago. Tom, why don't you go ahead and say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, Tom here. I don't really know much about Mark's show, but I'm looking forward to talking to everybody.
Okay. So, Tom, we were discussing real quickly about prosperity.
Yeah,
And can you share your impressions about prosperity?
sure. So everybody in the world wants to be prosperous. In fact, it's part of our nation's mantra. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, prosperity would be a result of those goals. And so the word prosperity to me is something that I think of kind of often because being prosperous and um, surrounding yourself with people and things in the world that you enjoy is really important.
Okay. And Tom, how about increase in prosperity? How do you increase in your prosperity?
You make more friends and you make more contacts and you meet more people. And as long as you're positive and good to those people, they'll be positive and good to you. And therefore, everybody's prosperity will increase.
Oh, I think it's very important, Tom, is to make connections, right? And I think that you're one person that I really admire in terms of the connections and the people they associate with. Can you elaborate more about, the connections and the people they associate with and how you operate in terms of like, doing business and stuff?
Sure. So the way the world really works compared to big business and corporate mumbo jumbo is uh, what makes the world really go round are relationships and things done the old-fashioned way. Things done via handshake, via lunches like you and I had, Mark, where you get to really connect with somebody and you get to really know what their goals are and what they're good at. And you leave a lasting impression on people. What will happen eventually is the next time somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I have a need for something," they're going to call you immediately and say, "Hey, I was thinking of you. I have something for you to work on." In my business personally, in the IT consulting world, which Mark, you know really well too, it's all about trust and small circles and reciprocation between people who are, in some cases, even to a competitor. Um, Examples of that are, I don't do telecommunication, but one of my closest business partners does. So if something comes along and I can't take care of it, I know I'm not the expert at that, but I know somebody who is. And so making introductions between there and networking has always been kind of paramount to my success as a business owner and others around me too. And that really, really comes down to having a positive attitude and being trustful with each other and being close. They say don't make business with pleasure, but business should be pleasurable. That's kind of the road that I tout being a small business owner. Do a lot of things with just handshakes and a lot of things based upon trust amongst peers, and also making sure that you've surrounded yourself with people who are as good at what they do as you are at what you do. Any weak link always has to be eliminated. So the strongest of everybody come together eventually and make a really good group of resources for like a potential customer.
Tom, one thing that seems to come up a lot is abundance. How is abundance a part of your life?
Actually, from a business standpoint, abundance really isn't necessarily that important to me. But it really depends on what you're doing in your world and how you're trying to make a living. There are certain kinds of businesses and things out there where abundance is extremely important. If you sell bottle caps, a silly example, but if you sell a widget and you make a penny on each one, you have to have an abundance of them. Whereas what I do, it's really not about abundance. It's actually the opposite of abundance. It's about inclusivity in a small group and having trusted partners and advisors around you versus having a million LinkedIn followers and friends out there, but to have maybe 50 that you really, really are connected to and that you really, really trust. So abundance isn't something that really comes into my world too often.
So, Tom, one thing also is success in career endeavors. Can you describe that to people?
Well, success in a career endeavor is not that you feel like you have a career or it's even an endeavor. It should be second nature. You don't wake up every day and love what you do. You're doing something wrong. So for me, as an example, I eat, sleep, and breathe my business, and it's what I love to do. So being successful at that, in my endeavor of it, that endeavor being a lifestyle. So not being out in the world trying to work for a boss 40 hours a week and have to deal with politics and stuff. My goal is to have a lifestyle business where I can work from wherever I want, however I want, whomever I want, and maintain a level of comfort and, quite frankly, sanity in it all in my work life. So finding ways to make money and have fun at the same time is really the goal. I've been very successful in accomplishing both having a successful financial ability and not giving up my lifestyle as a result.
And how about being in alignment with your inner truth? How does that relate to you?
Wow, you're getting into some spiritual talk now. But being in alignment with what you believe in is really important because you ultimately, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and you can't feel good about what you're doing, then guess what? You're not successful. And you'll ultimately become physically, spiritually, and mentally sick from doing something like that. So you have to align your values as a person, as a spiritual being, with what you're actually doing as well. So, I work a lot in healthcare, and I always tell myself, maybe I've done something at some point in time. I'm not a doctor, right? But maybe I've done something that has helped doctors and healthcare professionals at some point in time save lives. And that aligns really, really good with my spirituality and my belief system and my mantra of living, so to speak.
It's really good stuff, Tom. I really like our conversation. And we're heading to like a spiritual type of talk over here. And in terms of doing, you said that you eat, breathe, and sleep like you're doing stuff like that, and it's something that brings you passion and joy, right? So how does one find out if they're doing the right work? Like you do the right work and do the right thing that you align with. How do you know?
Oh, well, a lot of things in life, it's a gut feeling too. And sometimes you have to look at it like this. You may love what you do, but maybe you don't like the situation you're in. So a lot of folks that have jobs, what I would call a regular job, they don't enjoy what they do because they can't do it at their own pace. They have to do it under a lot of constriction and things like that. And that's why my advice to anybody is if you love what you're doing, and it makes you fulfilled, but you're unhappy with the way it's been done, and go do it on your own. You know, if you're good at making bottle caps, there's no reason why you can't make and sell your own bottle cap.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a great answer. How does one believing in oneself help them with their self-worth?
Wow, that's a good one, Mark. Self-confidence is really. I'll tell you what my dad told me when I was a kid, and this is either true or not. I don't know. He said, "If you don't got it, fake it." And you've heard that probably before. And what it is when you present yourself to potential people who are going to buy you, because no matter what business you're in, you're not selling anything but yourself. Especially, you know, if you're in a people services type business like you and I are, Mark. We sell. What do you sell, Mark? When you call a guy on the phone, you're selling Mark. You're not selling your company or anything. You're selling somebody on the idea that the person on the other end of the phone or the other end of the camera here or the other side of the table is going to be able to be a positive influence in your life overall in some way, you know. So, you know, being able to have the confidence to portray yourself, A, honestly, but B, confidently. You know, if you're scared or you're nervous, you have to find ways to get over that stuff. And when you get in front of people, be confident in what you say. You know, I've always been, I tell people this all the time. In my professional life, I've got the absolute most confidence in the world. But sometimes in my personal life, I'm like that guy that's scared at an interview. You know? So, you know, you have to find out where your strengths and weaknesses are, and you have to work on those things. You have to learn the strategies to get around them. You know, the whole picture of the other side of the, you know, the audience is being all naked. Maybe that makes you feel better. I don't know. But having confidence in what you do also comes from being good at what you do. If you're not good at something, you probably don't really have any business being in business doing that. You know, if you're a computer guy and you decide, well, you know what, I'm going to open a spa, you know, and if I did that and I sat down with you, Mark, as a potential customer or something at my spa, I would be on pins and needles, plainly because I have no idea really what I'm talking about, you know, and that's where, you know, some folks struggle with interviews and other things like that, when really being yourself is most of the battle, and the rest of it is just convincing yourself that you are that good at what you do.
That's a great answer. You're really in alignment with who you are. That's something I really like about you, is that you definitely are a self-centered person, but also you look out for others as well, but you know who you are. And, you know, I think that's very important to have. And
Mark, somebody told me once that if you look at your life, you have to look at it like everything around you is dark, and there's a spotlight, and that spotlight has to stay on you. Now, there are other people that will come and go in and out of that spotlight at various times in your life, and opportunities and things like that, but that spotlight always has to remain around you. And the minute that spotlight veers off into another direction, that's when a lot of folks have problems with relationships, with being successful in endeavors and business and things like that, is where the focus has to be on yourself and your own goals.
that leads me to the next question, Tom. What about, does karmic debt have any relevance to you, or can you identify with karmic debt at all?
Karmic debt?
Yes.
Like karma, what goes around comes around kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know a lot about karma, and I don't really, you know, have a belief system around that philosophy. Although there is a lot that is to be said about doing the right thing. Karmic debt, I guess. How would I describe that in terms of something that I could really speak to? I don't think there's any kind of scale or anything of, oh, I did all these bad things or all these good things, and now I deserve something or I don't deserve something. That isn't even controlled by people. That's controlled by the man up there. So for me, any kind of karma or karmic debt doesn't exist because I try to do the right thing all the time. And if you try to do the right thing all the time, sometimes you'll end up doing the wrong thing. It happens. But that doesn't mean there's some kind of counter against you and it's going to come bite you later one way or another. You're not owed anything and nothing's owed to you. So, or you don't owe anything to anybody else. So the best thing I could say is, you know, doing the right thing is probably the best thing you can do in business and in otherwise. If you in your stomach you feel something's wrong and you shouldn't do that, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, especially when it comes to other people and being destructive to anybody else around you. And especially in business and when you trust people that you work with. You have to be and do the right thing all the time. I've had situations where I've had somebody, try to go around somebody else and do some shady business kind of thing, and I just have to message them, and I'm not going to participate in anything like that. You got to do it the right way. There's a way that everybody can be a winner, and that's what you have to look at.
So, speaking of which, how does taking responsibility affect one's joy and emotional well-being?
Taking responsibility is, for some people, it's something that they never do. And for some people, it's something that they do more than they should. But I kind of think that, um, you know, what's the saying about sleeping where you lie or falling on your own sword? You have to have a humbleness about you to be able to do those types of things. And so being able to take responsibility, especially if you've done something wrong, will make a world of difference to the people around you. Especially, no one's perfect, right? So everybody makes mistakes. It's how you react and deal with those mistakes. So do you blame other people, or do you take responsibility for your part and offer to help resolve something and have it not happen again? I've worked with a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people report to me over the years and things, and the worst thing somebody can do, and the worst thing you can do in the world is not take responsibility for anything, especially if you know that you're doing wrong. And the flip side, you can take responsibility for the things that are great and wonderful and the positivity that you put out and what you do for people. That's a good thing too, and that's not really gloating in my mind. It's more or less, you have to make yourself feel good about those things. So you have to take responsibility for both the good and the bad, not just one or the other.
So, Tom, how does Earth energy, does that have any relevance to you at all? Earth energy?
Yeah, man, I'm a nature nut. So Earth energy is extremely important to me, and that's why, one of the reasons I'm leaving where I am now and going to another place is because there's different energies and different mother, natural, nature types of environments out there that I enjoy. I love it here where I am. I love the water. I love being around plants and animals. I'm a gardener, a pet owner. The world is all around you, and there is something about Mother Nature. And man, is there something about things like water and fire and earth and wind and all of those elemental things. They really bring people back to their core. Have you ever, Mark, been sitting at a campfire and realized for a minute there when you're nice and warm and go, man has been doing this for millions of years, and it's in my innate nature to want to be close to something like this and be able to do this, right? That's where the earth and everything about it really affects me, and it affects everybody else. I don't care who you are. It's just a matter of how much you recognize it or not.
And how does that aid in, like, healing?
In healing, well, you know, spiritually and mentally, it's almost everything. A lot of times it is your surroundings that will make you feel better. If you are, um, if you're a person who loves the beach, why would you live in a desert? Or if you're the type of person who likes to be out in the wilderness, or enjoys hang gliding or something like that, those things that you enjoy will heal you, especially spiritually, mentally, and then eventually they'll help you physically feel better too if you have physical ailments.
So, Tom, how does gratitude create an opening for more abundance?
That's a really cool question, Mark, because being thankful for what you have will always ultimately bring you more. That goes in every direction and is part of core values of at least my own, and is being thankful for what you have, no matter how little it is, and that's probably the important thing to say there. And there are plenty of things you can read out there and religious texts and otherwise that will go through the whole reasoning behind it. But just being thankful for what you have, no matter what it is, will bring you more abundance. Maybe not long term, maybe not short term, and what you think might be abundance and positive things and great things might not be what really is positive and great. So you have to kind of, no matter what, just be thankful for what you have, and being and showing gratitude too to other people who have helped you. I always make it a point around the holidays. I don't have employees on my payroll. I have contractors, but every single one of those contractors gets a Christmas bonus. And you don't have to do that, but it's your way of saying thank you, even though you don't have to do anything, and it's not a lot of money or anything. It's just a matter of being grateful, because eventually you're going to have to call those same people up on the phone and say, I really need your help, I'm in a pinch, or have to apologize for something that you didn't do right at some point in time. And if they see you as a grateful type of person, they're more likely to be grateful to you, have a strong relationship with you, all the things that go along with that.
So, Tom, I really like your answers, and it's been a great conversation, a great flow, and everything like that. And one thing I want to say is like, does universal love mean anything to you?
What?
Universal love.
Universal love. Yeah, I guess in the plainest sense of it, love's been described to me as the meaning of life. I don't know if it's ever been described to you as that. If you had to sum up the meaning of life in one word, it would be that word. So universal love would be very much along the lines of exactly that. And love's one of those hard words to really describe and quantify and put into any kind of context other than that one word. Universal love, yeah. You love everything, and you would expect everything to love you back. And everything's interconnected, right? So it's not just you and your nebulous little house world kingdom land. You are connected to everything else out there. Everything. So love is the meaning of life.
Awesome. I'm going to read an affirmation, and I think it might strike a chord with you. I think it might relate to it. So if you do relate to the affirmation, share about it, even if you don't. But it might have a meaning. So I'm going to read this to you a couple times, and then give me your impression about the affirmation, okay?
All right.
I gratefully receive my birthright of success, abundance, and prosperity on all levels. I'll say it again. I gratefully receive my birthright of success, abundance, and prosperity on all levels. Is that attributable to you?
Yeah, I would think so. The only word I would change would be grateful to graceful, because it makes it a more spiritual thing, right? When you accept something with grace rather than gratuity. But that is a wonderful way to sum up. That's a nice saying, Mark.
I like it. I really think it's very appropriate. And we were talking about like greater life for all,
Yeah.
and the how that operates and everything like that. And I know that you're a person who pretty much I would say is living a greater life, and what they really admire about you is that you don't really work for somebody, but you're always busy. You're always getting work, and the people you associate with always refer each other work to each other.
Yeah.
Can you like explain to people like how that feels like and what it's like, and so someone could know like what it feels like to be involved in something like what you do?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's empowering. It can be scary and a roller coaster. Not gonna sugarcoat that, but what I will say is I will never, ever, ever go work for somebody again. When you get out there and all you have to do, and some of your questions, Mark, really focus around kind of some of the meanings behind personalities of people, but you get out of the world which you put in, and all you have to do is work hard and have fun doing it. And if you're not doing those two things, then something's wrong. My advice to people, and what I would say, I I would urge people to do, is not be scared at all, ever. Don't overplan, don't underplan, and really, really rely upon a couple core things. One, be the best, whatever it is you are, that you can be, and be better than everybody else around you at that. Two, find people who are the best at what they are and surround yourself with those people. And stay close to all those people and build relationships with those folks, personal and business relationships. So when somebody needs your carpentering skills, they're going to tell 100 people a good thing about you. Therefore, you don't have to sell anything ever. You know me, Mark. How do people find me? It's not hard. A couple Google searches, talk to guys like you, who have relationships with people like me, and you're there. They get the right person, everybody's happy, everybody makes money, and everybody can smile and be happy and be thankful and live a nice, fulfilled, life with that, both from a lifestyle perspective and then, all the other things that come with success, financial and fulfillment and all of that kind of stuff.
So, Tom, one last question, and this is a good one, I have to say. So, right now, someone could be watching, our show. It could be right now while we're live, or it could be, as we're watching it being recorded, because this is being recorded. So, it could be someone could be watching tomorrow, maybe next week or next year. But the thing is that someone's watching this and they're saying at this very moment, like, I really like what Tom said. I really like what he said. And it could be anybody, someone that you probably know or don't know. But the question is, Tom, I don't know what I like to do. I want to participate. I really like what you're saying, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what I'm good at. And you obviously figured it out, what you're good at and what you like to do. What would you tell somebody?
Oh, well, that's cool. That's a good one, Mark. And that comes from like inner strength and things. I think that a lot of people, they have all kinds of hobbies and things, And a lot of people, they go to work and they just quote pick something. You know, I tell people growing up in my family, everybody's been a musician or an entrepreneur. It was kind of pick one, right? So I picked kind of the entrepreneur, and other family members have gone in other directions. But what I would say is, you know, those things about what you're good at and what you want to do and what you want to do with your life, they all happen at an early age, Mark. It's something from childhood that's going to stand out to everybody. It's going to make you, you know, want to do something or not want to do something. Just like, you know, everybody turns 18 and then every day older, right? So some folks, they find it early in life. Some folks, it's always been there and they find it later in life. And some folks, they never find it at all. But there's nothing wrong with that too. Maybe you're just good at not being, maybe you're good at traveling. Maybe you're good at like changing jobs every 5 or 10 years. I actually wouldn't see anything wrong with that even too. If you are the type of person who's somewhat nomadic. I know a lot of folks, friends that move around every couple years. And I've also talked to other people who change jobs all the time. And, you know, in some cases it's not really a bad thing. In some cases it is. Sticking with it, for some people, it's not for other people. But usually, if I had to say one thing, I'd say that somewhere in your childhood, you did something you really, really enjoyed. Find out what that was and what that is, and then work from there.
Wow, great answer. Tom, like, you know, because Greater Life for All is about being, you know, who you are, you know,
Yeah.
and living a life, you know, actually, I know you know, actually being paid for living, you know, because a lot of people pay to live,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Now, explain what it's like to be, what, like being paid for living, what the difference is.
Well, there's always an element of work, right? But it has to be fulfilling and being paid for living. Well, I'm not a socialite. It's not my business, but you know, being paid to live, or what do they say? You live to work or you work to live, right? Well, one of those is right, but both of them are wrong. Somewhere in the middle is what really reality is, right? And I think being paid to live is a choice that you make. You know, do you want to, you know, I probably could turn my business into a big giant consulting conglomerate pretty easily. But I choose to stay and do it the way I want to because I want to maintain that lifestyle business aspect of it. You know, I want to be able to do business from a cell phone on a boat going fishing. You know, I don't want to be caught up in some corporate board meetings wearing a tie. I don't even. I'll tell you this. I'll leave you with a little thing I tell people, and I don't know if I told you this, Mark. My goal in business is never to wear shoes or pants ever again. I know that sounds weird, but think about it. Especially if you're a guy. If you're a woman, that's not going to make a ton of sense, but think about it. If you never had to wear a pair of shoes or long pants ever again in your entire life, that's my goal in business, and that's where the lifestyle aspect of it really comes in. I also don't like to shave, if you couldn't tell. That's another one.
Tom, you're an awesome guy. I'm really happy that you participated. You know, not even knowing getting into anything like that, and you are to me, you know, a role model for Greater Life to All for people to see.
Well,
And you know, I knew from that launch, Greater Life for All is all over you and everything like that. So listen, I do appreciate you taking the time at the evening, and we'll sign off. And any last word to say?
no, hey, thanks. This was a little bit unexpected. It's been really cool, Mark. Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, listen. Enjoy your trip, and you know, happy Fourth.
Yep.
It is going to be 4th of July in the U.S. of A. And we're going to sign off. This is Mark, and I forgot to say that I was having a tea. It's called Sweet Spiced Nana Mint Tea. It's actually a pretty tasteful tea. I actually like it. So, Tom, nice having you, and ciao.
Cheers.